Good day, boys and girls of Northwest Catholic School in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Father Joe Jagodensky, Parish Administrator of the Stony Church on the Hill, St. Catherine of Alexandria. Today we're talking about call, and this is the call of Moses. A new king arose over Egypt, and he said to his people, "Behold, the people of the sons of Israel are more and stronger than we are. Come, let us deal wisely with them, or else they will multiply even more, and in the event of war, they will also join themselves to those who hate us, and fight against us, and depart from the land, and we cannot allow that to happen." So they appointed taskmasters over them to afflict them with hard labor, but the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied, so that they were in dread of the sons of Israel. The Egyptians compelled the sons of Israel to labor even harder, and they made their lives bitter and difficult. The sons of Israel were also called Hebrews. The Egyptians feared the Hebrews, so Pharaoh, who's the king of Egypt, commanded everyone concerning the Hebrews, "Every son who was born you are to cast into the Nile River, and every daughter you are to keep alive." At this time, a Hebrew family had a baby boy. The mother tried to hide the baby boy for fear that he would be killed. But when she could not hide him any longer, she got him in a wicker basket and covered it with tar and pitch. Then she put the child into it and set it among the weeds by the bank of the Nile River. The baby's sister watched to see what would happen to him. Pharaoh's daughter, who's the king of Egypt, the daughter came to the Nile with her maidens. They discovered the baby in the basket. Pharaoh's daughter loved the Hebrew baby. Then the baby's sister asked Pharaoh's daughter if she would like to find someone who could take care of the baby. And Pharaoh's daughter said yes. So the baby's sister ran to her mother. Then Pharaoh's daughter said to the baby's mother, "Take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed him. The child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she named him Moses, and said, "Because I drew him out of the water." Now it came about in those days, when Moses had grown up, that he went out to look to find other brethren, people of his race, his nationality. And he looked and saw the hard labor that these people were performing. And he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own. So he looked this way and that, and when he saw there was no one around, he struck down the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Someone saw Moses kill the Egyptian. The news came about, and Pharaoh wanted to kill Moses. Moses had to flee from his home and leave both his Hebrew and Egyptian families. At around 40 years old, he traveled alone to a distant land to hide from Pharaoh. Moses fled to a land called Midian. There he was welcomed by a family where he met his wife. They had 2 sons. Moses settled down and lived in Midian, working as a shepherd for many years. And then Moses was called by God.
I, the Lord of sea and sky, I have heard my people cry, all who dwell in dark and sin, my hand will save. I who made the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I will hold your people in my heart.
The call of Moses. Moses was looking after the flock of his father-in-law, Jethro. He led them to the far side of the wilderness to gaze by a mountain called Horeb. He watched a bush that had caught fire, and he noticed it did not burn up. So Moses decided to take a closer look. Suddenly God called to him from inside the burning bush, "Moses!" "Here I am, Lord," Moses replied. God told Moses to take off his shoes, for he was on holy ground. "I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob," God announced. At this, Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. God told Moses that he had seen the suffering of the Hebrew slaves in Egypt. He was going to rescue them and lead them to a land of milk and honey, where they would be free. "Go to Pharaoh and bring my people out of Egypt," God instructed. Moses started making excuses. Who am I to do this?" God promised to be with Moses. He also promised that he would make a way for the Hebrews to come and worship him on this mountain. "But if I go to the Hebrew leaders, who shall I say sent me?" asked Moses. "Tell them, I am who I am has sent you. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. My name is forever." God instructed Moses to go to the leaders of Israel with the message that God was going to rescue them from slavery and lead them to the land he had promised. God and the leaders were then to tell Pharaoh to let the Hebrews go. and worship the Lord God in the wilderness." Moses still kept making excuses. "But what if they don't listen to me?" he said. God asked Moses what he held in his hand. "A staff," replied Moses. "Throw it to the ground," said the Lord. Then he threw his staff to the ground. It became a snake. Moses was scared and jumped away from it. "Reach out your hand and take the snake by the tail," said the Lord. As Moses grabbed the snake's tail, it turned back into a staff. "This sign will help them believe," said the Lord God. "Now put your hand inside your cloak." Moses put his hand inside his cloak, but when he pulled it back out, it was white, with a terrible skin disease called leprosy. "Now put your hand back in your cloak," God ordered. When Moses pulled his hand out from his cloak a second time, his hand was healed. If the Hebrew leaders do not believe these two signs, then take some water from the Nile and pour it on the ground. I will make the water turn to blood, the Lord told Moses. But Moses still kept making excuses. "I find it hard to speak well or very clearly." "Who gave people their mouths?" replied the Lord. "I will help you speak and teach you what to say." But Moses still making excuses. "Please send somebody else to do this. I can't do it." God was angry with Moses. "Your brother Aaron can speak well. He is on his way to meet you. He will be your spokesman. Take your staff in your hand so you will be able to perform miracles." So Moses returned to his father-in-law Jethro and asked his permission to return to his people in Egypt. "Go, I wish you well," replied Jethro. Aaron had already been told by God to travel to meet him. Moses met his wife and sons on donkeys ready for the journey. The Egyptians who remembered what you did and wanted revenge are now all dead, God assured Moses. The two brothers met up at Mount Horeb, the mountain of God, and welcomed each other. And Moses responded to the call from God. I'm Father Joe Jagodensky, Parish Administrator of St. Catherine of Alexandria. Have a wonderful day.